Welcome to Vishesh Educational Videos. In this video, I am explaining one of the important topic of software engineering, that is project planning and plan driven development. That means to develop a particular software at a shot you can't do that, right? You need a proper planning. So right, I'm going to discuss about the planning that is needed to develop a software, right? If you are not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. To get the notification of my new videos, please click the bell icon, and please don't forget to like the video, and please don't forget to share the video with your friends. So let me begin the explanation of project planning and plan driven development. So what is a project planning? So as the name suggests, so at a shot you can't develop a software. To develop a software, you need some proper planning, you need some proper procedure, right? So the project plan is a thing which is created at the start of a project. When you want to start the project, that means project means development of the software. When you want to develop your software, right, you have to create a project plan, right? So project plan is used to communicate how the work will be done to the project team and the customers, right? So you need a plan to communicate with your project team. You have to tell what are the steps you need to take while developing a particular software. If you want to communicate, if you want to tell the proper procedure to your team, you can use this project plan. And also, not only to the project team, you can use your plan to communicate with the customers. You can tell your customer that what are the necessary steps you are following to develop a particular software. You can tell that also by considering the project plan. And also you can assess the progress. You can assess the progress of your project by seeing the project plan, because in a project plan, right, all the details will be included: when to start a project, when to complete a project, right? All those details will be there in the project plan. So if any delay is happening while developing a particular software, you can assess the progress. You can you can know how the development process is taking place, right? If you can come to know about the delays, right? If any delays are happening in your project, you can assess the progress of your project using a project plan, right? So when I say a project plan takes place at 3 stages in a project life cycle. So how the planning is prepared, right? Planning is an initial step, right? Before developing the particular software, you have to prepare a perfect project plan. So how you are going to prepare that? So project planning has 3 steps. The first step is proposal stage, and the second one is startup phase, right? Now we will discuss all these steps in detail. See here, at the proposal stage, when you are bidding for a contract to develop or provide a software system, right? Proposal stage means you are bidding for a contract, you are trying to get the customer. In this stage, you need a plan. Why you need a plan at the proposal stage? Because it is, right, this plan will help you decide if you have the resources to complete the work and to work out the price that you should quote to a customer. Obviously you need a plan in a proposal stage also, because by seeing the plan you can decide what is the available resources with me, or what is the price I have to quote, right? Those things you can decide if you have a proper plan. So that's why you need a plan at the proposal stage also. You can quote the price, you can decide how much resource is available in a company, right? So next, During the project startup phase also you need a plan. In the startup phase, why you need a plan, right? When you have to plan who will work on the project, right? When you want to decide, now your project is starting, you have a plan because you have to decide who will work on the project, who should be the project manager, who should be the team leader, like that. You have to decide those things. That's why you need a plan. And also you have to decide how the project will be broken down into increments, and also how the resources will be allocated across your company. You have to prepare a proper plan for doing all these things. You have to plan who should work, you have to plan how the resources should be allocated, you have to plan how I have to divide my project. For example, 2 weeks one on build, like that. You have to decide that 2 weeks or 1 week for one build, like that. You have to divide your project, you have to decide, you need a proper plan for that. And also you need a plan to periodically, right, you need a periodically means you have to check the progress of your project, right? That's why you need a plan, right? Suppose if you are facing any problem in your project, you can modify your plan, right? You can monitor the progress of your project work. You can, if you are facing any difficulties, you can modify your plan. That's why, right? And also you can learn more about the system being implemented and capabilities of your development team, right? So this information allows you to make more accurate estimates of how long the work will take, right? So when you have a proper plan, if you periodically, right, go through the progress of your work, you will learn about so many things. For example, you will learn how much capable the development team is. Also along with that, you can make some accurate decisions. If you have a proper plan, you can decide actually how long the work will take. You can have a proper right figure about that particular duration if you have a proper plan, right? So you need a planning for these things. So planning takes place in from beginning to ending stage, proposal stage to final stage, right? So now what is a plan driven development? I told you about the planning, right? Now you can ask a question, what is a plan driven development? Plan driven development means you are applying some proper plan while developing the particular software. We will see this now. See, plan driven or plan based development is an approach to software engineering where the development process is planned in detail. Yes, planning, you know that. So plan driven development means while developing the software from starting to ending, you should have the proper procedure. Each and everything should be clearly stated. Each and everything should be conducted with a proper plan. That is nothing but a plan driven development, right guys? A project plan is created, right? When you create the project plan, the project plan records the work to be done, getting guys? It is going to, project plan is going to tell what you have to do and who will do it, getting guys? So it is going to tell what has to be done, it is going to tell who has to do it. Also it will tell about the development schedule. For example, it will tell about the deadline. For example, the deadline can be 1 year, 2 years to develop a software. Those development schedule will also be there in your project plan, getting guys? And also in a project plan, you have to include the resources available to the project and also the breakdown of your project to carry out the work, getting guys? So all these details should be there in your plan driven developments. Whatever the project plans you're going to develop using a plan driven development, these details should be available. And also along with that, the plan should identify risk to the project. Obviously there will be some risk while developing your project. For example, you may ask a question, what are the risks that may happen, that risk may occur while developing a software. For example, resources shortage, staff shortage, like that. So this type of risk will be there while developing the software. So the plan can identify these risks. If you have a proper plan, that plan can identify these risks, right? That is the advantage if you have a plan driven development. Hope you are understanding, guys. Suppose if you have any doubts, you can post your doubts in the comment section, right? So when you prepare a plan to develop a software, that plan can contain the following sections. Normally the plans may contain this following section. Plan is like, it's like an actual document, right? Plan is nothing but a document. You have to document each and everything from starting to final stages. So these plans, whatever the plans you are going to prepare, that plans may contain 7 sections. So now we will discuss these sections. What are the sections that can be present in a plan, right? The first section is introduction. Plan contains introduction. Whatever the planning you are going to do, first you should include the introduction. What is that? So introduction briefly describes the objectives of the project and sets out the constraints. For example, introduction means it's going to introduce, right? It's going to give the introduction about your project. What are the objectives of the project? Why you are doing this project? Why you are doing this project? Those objectives will be there in the introduction. Not only that, the constraints will also be there. Constraint details will also be there. Constraint details means what is the budget to develop the software, how much deadline you need, how much time you need. Those details will also be there in the introduction. That is the first part. After that, after explaining the objectives, after writing down the constraints in the plan, in the second part you have to consider the project organization. So project organization means it is going to describe the way in which the development team is organized. That means you have to include the details about who are the people that are going to be involved and what are the roles of that particular people in the team. For example, to develop that particular project you need a 40 people. Those details, 40 people details, and scheduled work for each scheduled work for each person. That means role, who is the team manager, who is the project manager. Those details should be there in the project organization section. And the next section is the risk analysis. So this section, risk analysis, describes the possible project risks that are going to that may arise. Possible risks that may arise. I told you, right? Shortage of staff, shortage of resources. This type of risks are there. And your project may go behind the deadline. These type of risks will be there, right? What are the risks that may occur while developing the particular software? Those details should be there in this section. Along with that, if any problem arise, if any risks happen, then how to reduce that risk? Those strategies should be there in this section, right? If any risk occurs, how to reduce that risk? If shortage of staff occurs, how you can overcome that? Those details should be there in the risk analysis. And then in the next section, hardware and software resource requirements. That means they specify the hardware and support software required to carry out the development. This section will tell about what are the hardware, what are the configuration you need to develop this software. For example, how much RAM you need, how much hard disk capacity you need, these type of how much resources you need to develop the particular software. These things should be planned properly. And if you want to purchase any hardware, what should be the price what should be the price of that particular purchase, you have to quote that also. And when to deliver the particular project or particular software, those details should be also included here. Getting, guys? Hardware and whatever the software that are necessary to develop particular software, those details should be included in this section. And along with that, the work breakdown. The work breakdown means here your project will be divided into activities, right? For example, 10 activities. For example, I'm dividing my project to 10 activities, right? Each activity should be completed within a week. That is milestone. Milestone means small milestone. Each activity should be completed within a week. So my first activity should be completed within a week. That week is a milestone. So for a project, if 10 weeks, how many milestones will be there? We have 10 milestones. Milestones are nothing but key stages in the project where progress can be assessed. For example, I told you my milestone is 1 week. I can assess how much work is done in that 1 week. That's why milestones are very key stages in the project. I can assess the progress of that particular milestone. That means I can assess the work done in that particular week, because here I am dividing the milestone as a week, right? That's why I can assess what is the progress actually. Getting, guys? And next, project schedule. This section shows the dependencies between the activities. For example, assume that one activity may depend on another activity. For example, you assume that you are developing a authentication feature to your software, right? Assume like that. And also you are developing the add customer feature. Simply assume like that. Just an example. Now see, to develop the add customer feature, first registration feature should be ready. There what happened, one feature is dependent on the other feature. So project schedule shows these dependencies between the activities. One activity should be completed first to continue with another activity. Those dependencies will be there in this project schedule. And also in the project schedule, the estimated time required to reach each milestone, right? Those details will also be there in the project schedule. Hope you are understanding. And lastly, in the plan, you may include monitoring and reporting mechanisms. That means this defines the management reports that should be produced. That means for every activity, you have to produce some proper reports, because you have to submit that reports to the management, the heads of the company. So right here you have to develop the management reports that should be produced. Hope you are understanding. So when you are developing a plan, you have to include all these details. Getting, guys? And I will explain the planning process now. Don't get confused. First I told what was the planning. What is actually a planning. Then I told, well, you prepare a plan, what are the information should be there in a particular plan, right? Now I am explaining the planning process. What is actually a planning process? How you are going to do that, right? So project planning is an iterative process. Iterative process means if you want, you can go back. If you want, you can make changes, and after making the changes, you can come back and you can continue with the process. Iterative process means changes you can make, changes can be made. So project planning is an iterative process that starts when you create an initial project plan. Getting, guys? During the project startup phase, when you develop a project, initial project plan, you have to write project planning will start when you develop a initial project plan. During the startup phase, you will create a project plan, right? Then only this project planning will be started, and it is an iterative process. Iterative process means continuous improvements are possible. If you want to make changes, you can make the changes. Now I will explain with a diagram. So this is the diagram of the planning process. In simple words, I will explain this planning process. See here. Now you are preparing the planning. You are right. Planning is iterative process. I told you, right? What to prepare a plan? What is the first thing you have to do? Means you have to identify the risks. What are the risks that are there while developing a particular software, and also after that you have to define milestones and deliverables. That means how much, for example, I told you, for example, consider that I'm developing a project for 1 year, so milestone, so 12 months means, so one milestone will be of length 30 days, like that. So these milestones should be defined along with the risks. You have to identify the risks, then milestones should be defined. Deliverables means, for example, for each month you have to submit the work report for your customer. That is deliverables. Or each month or once in a 6 months you have to deliver the amount of coding that is done to your customer. Those things should be defined. When to deliver the product to the customer, the deliverables, milestone details, risk details, all these things should be defined first while doing the planning, right? After that, when you identified risks, when you identified milestones, then you can define the project schedule. Project schedule means when to start, when to finish. This schedule you have to prepare. When everything is ready, when the proper plan is ready, when after identifying the risks, after defining the milestone, after defining the project schedule, when the plan is ready, you can start with your work. You can start with your work. Getting, guys? If no problem means, obviously work will be completed. This is the final stage and this is the start stage. You start do the work when the plan is ready. If no problem is there, you can just continue the work and you can stop, or else. And also, while doing the work, you have to monitor the progress against the plan. That means you have to check whether the work is going according to the plan that is prepared. Yes, right? You have to check whether the work is going according to your plan. Suppose if any problems are there, if your work is not going according to your plan, what you have to do? You have to again define the project schedule. Again you have to define the schedule. For example, you are assume that your schedule is 1 year for developing the project, but some problems is happening, then you can extend your project for 2 months. Instead of 12 months, it can be 14 months, like that. If any problems occurs, you can monitor the progress and you can change your schedule. Getting, guys? If it is a minor problem, you can change the schedule, you can increase the project deadline. If nothing is happening, just you can continue with the work and you can develop the software. But if any small problems are occurring, you can define the project schedule. That means you can change your project schedule only for minor problems. Instead of 12 months, you can complete your project in the 14 months. But if your problems are serious, what you have to do, if your problems are serious, you have to initiate risk migration actions. That means identify the risk, right? While identifying the risk, you have to identify what is the action you need to take for the particular risk. You have to initiate that. You have to take that action when a risk is happened, if it is a serious problem. Or else, if you can't eliminate that risk, you can again replan your project. Again, you can start from the first step. Hope you are understanding. If everything is fine, no problem, you can continue with your work. So this is the simple explanation of the project planning process. First, you have to prepare a plan. You have to check whether the work is going according to the plan. If it is going according to the plan, no problem. So, or else if any minor problems are there, just extend your schedule. But if many major problems are there, try to identify the risk and try to take the action. Even after taking the action, it is not working out, means just just replan the project again, right? Excuse me. So I already explained this. Anyway, I will brief it out. Just brief it out. See here, at the beginning of the planning process, you should assess the constraints affecting the project. I told you what are the risks, what are the constraints that are present. You have to identify that. Then these constraints are constraint means what are the constraint, delivery date, how much staff available, overall budget, those things. Once all those things are identified, right? Next, what you can do in congestion, with this you should also identify the project milestones, when you have to deliver the particular software, how to divide your project milestones. Those things you have to consider, right? I told you milestones are points in the schedule. I told you, for example, 10 weeks, if 12 months means one month I can divide, that is 1 month. For example, 12 months can be divided as one month. For example, 12 months means I can divide 12 months as one month. That is, 1 month is nothing but a milestone. Deliverables, I told you, the work products, how much source code you have written, how much product that is completed, you should deliver to the customer. For example, when a requirement document is ready, you can that is a deliverable. You can deliver it to the customer like that. Hope you are getting, guys. Right here, this process enters the loop. Here, loop means what? If it is if your activities are not according to your plan, just go. See, you can go back, you can go back, you can go back, you can go back any number of times until you get the proper schedule. That's why loop. Hope you're understanding, right, guys? So now, what are the advantages and disadvantages of a plan driven development? So what are the advantages of a plan driven approach? Means when you do the early planning allows organizational issues like availability of staff, those things, right? You can take those things into account. And also you can dependencies, you can identify the dependencies before the project starts. Only you can identify these issues, availability of staff, deadline. Those details can be identified in the initial stages itself, right? Instead of identifying all these things when the project is going on, if you apply a plan driven development, you can get an idea about these organizational issues in the initial stage itself if you follow the plan driven development. But what is the disadvantage of a plan driven development? Means many early decisions have to be revised because of changes to the environment in which the software is to be developed and used. Suppose if any changes are there, you have to do the changes, because you have taken the decisions very early. Initial stages only you have taken the decisions in a plan driven development. You have to revise your decisions when there is changes to your environment. That is the disadvantage. When there is any changes to your environment, you have to revise the plan, right? That's why. That is the disadvantage in a plan driven development. So that's it, guys. So hope you understood the concepts. Suppose if you have any doubts, you can post your doubts in the comment section, right? Thank you for watching the video.